It's time to be one with your inner fairy. Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with another show review. And if you've seen the title of this video, you know that this is a part 2 or a second review, if you will, of the Fate Winx Saga. I made a video all the way back when season 1 came out reviewing season 1. So if you haven't seen that, or if you haven't seen season 1, I recommend you see both. Catch up and then come back here. But today we are talking about season 2 of Fate Winx Saga. And I don't know, this second season was very interesting, to say the least. Like, I have to say it's definitely better than the last season, but I have to say this season did feel kind of rushed. And that's not even talking about the season finale, the end of the season, which was just a mess entirely. But we'll get into that and so much more later in the video. But right now, if you haven't already and you like all things TV, pop culture, and fashion, you should hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I happen to make content for all of the above. So I mean, really, why not? And also while you're at it, you can also follow me on all of my other social medias at Imurgency. If you want to see me do live reactions to the shows I'm actually watching, you can follow me on TikTok. If you want to just see me looking cute, you can see me on Instagram. And if you just want to see me have thoughts sometimes, follow me on Twitter, all at Imurgency. And one last thing before we get started, leave a like on this video. Just please do it. It helps out so much with the algorithm. So if you're waiting for a sign to like this video, here we are. But enough intro. Let's talk about Fate Winx Saga Season 2. So like I said before, the season was very interesting. It was just like a really good build from Season 1, because I feel like Season 1 suffered from a lot of things that first seasons often do with like low budget and not really a high investment in the series, because no one really knows if it's gonna take off or not. But season 2 definitely does see those budget and, I guess, story writing increases, or at least increase in quality, because now we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere with the show. And they even gave us a little treat this season by introducing a brand new fairy, Flora, who happens to be Terra's second cousin. And she has like planty powers like Terra, but because of that, Terra this season, instead of being like purely planty, she kind of goes for like more of like an earthy vibe. But yeah, she goes for like an earthy vibe and becomes like an earthbender kind of, where she's able to like mess with the mud and the earth and such, which was a nice touch for sure. But the main plot of this season is a continuation of the events that happened in season 1, where we now have Rosalind, you know, homegirl who was trapped in the basement of the school, now being the headmaster of the school after taking out the past headmaster Farah, and things just do not look good with her. She's just like a mysterious figure. Like, you know, she's up to no good, but you don't exactly know what. And I feel like this season does a really good job of like doing a whole bunch of twists and turns with Rosalind, where you kind of just don't know what her intentions are. You as the viewer know that none of them could be good. Like, you do not trust her, but you don't exactly know why. But you know, apparently that feeling must just be lost on us, because one character specifically in this show does a complete 180 and decides to trust Rosalind for some reason. And that character is our main character, Bloom. And Bloom this season, I will say, she did eat down. Whether it be with the looks to the powers, like, homegirl ate down, but when it comes to her decision making, her judge of character, girl, stand up. I mentioned in my review last season that Bloom was just generally annoying last season because of her terrible decision making and just being super impulsive, and that kind of still reigns true today. Like, homegirl just did not make the best decisions or have the best judgment or assessment of important situations, because for one, how does she go from utterly hating Rosalind and having a very valid and concrete reason for hating Rosalind, to then being like her bestie in like all of like 2.5 seconds. Like, all Rosalind had to do was spend a little time with Bloom and give her a couple compliments, and all of a sudden she was on the Rosalind fan club. Like, she was defending Rosalind, right? She was defending Rosalind, and her friends were like, girl, I don't know what this is, but you need to cut this out. Like, Rosalind cannot be trusted. We do not like her. But Bloom was like, you know, I don't know, maybe she had a change of heart. Like, girl, be for real. The time to be for real is now. Like, please. And we all know by now that Bloom's main motivation is finding out the truth about her past and learning more about her parents. And this season, she's able to do that. First through Rosalind, and Sebastian's really important this season because he ends up being the Blood Witch, and the whole plot of the season is like, the Blood Witches are coming to steal the fairies' powers. But we'll get more into that later, because it gets really confusing and really like, huh? They're doing what with why? They're doing what? But because this information about her past is held over Bloom's head, she really just shows like how far she's willing to go to get that information because girl, what are you doing? It's just the way that near the end of this season, you know the part where they're about to face off against Sebastian and everyone's able to power up and get some new abilities and Bloom's friends are all like, we can finally fight together now, we have our new powers. And Bloom is just like, no, I can fight alone. I have the dragon flame. And for good reason, her friends are like, but we could still help, you know, you don't have to do this all by yourself. And Bloom's just still like, but the dragon flame. And Bloom was just standing behind that dragon flame the second that she found out that she had it, even though they don't really explain very well like what the limits of the power really is, or really how it is kind of different. They're just like, oh yeah, Bloom's super powerful because she has the dragon flame. But still, even after all that, the dragon flame and Bloom still end up flopping because her friends end up having to come in and save her, and honestly do most of the heavy work. If you really think about it, like Bloom was like the last one to really hop in to like that final fight, and even then she was on her last legs. Like, I don't know, I feel like Bloom's friends just kind of ate this season. Like, Bloom wasn't delivering. But let's talk about some other characters before we fully get into the finale. Aisha, our girl Aisha. I feel like Aisha this season got some well-needed character development, or can I really even say that? Honestly, all Aisha did was learn how to like open up more, because her entire plot this season was just getting a boyfriend and being with her boyfriend. And it's sad because her boyfriend, Gray, ended up being a blood witch, but they were so cute together. Like, I loved their energy. I love that Gray was just so patient with her and like understanding, or at least waiting for Aisha to actually catch up and be on the same page so they could actually have like this relationship. It's just a shame that he ended up being the enemy. And Stella this season was kind of going through it because she has arguably one of the coolest and most useful powers, with her being able to be invisible and like spy and like having her light magic. But she kind of got nerfed for this entire season when they put that jewel on her back. Like, I feel like Stella was just kind of there. Like, she had her moments where she was trying to step into her own, and especially near the end of the season when she was standing up against her mom. Like, those were great character building moments for Stella. But I feel like Stella was kind of just there. Like, they nerfed her a lot, power-wise. So she was really just going off of personality, and I feel like that wasn't completely lost on her. Like, she was definitely able to deliver, but as far as like contribution to the group, because this season she was still caught up with her and Sky, even though her and Sky are no more and she and Sky's with Bloom. And I thought that Stella was over that, and I thought that the whole thing between her and Beatrix, where they're going back and forth and developing their friendship, I thought that was all a gag for like what was actually going on behind the scenes with like Bloom and the others. But Homegirl was really caught up over Sky, and I was like, wait, what? Really? I know that Sky had a glow up this season, but like still, like what? I thought we were over that, but you know, apparently not. That's okay. We all take our own time to do certain things. But just like, wow. But now one of the characters that I feel like had some of the most development this season, Terra. This was Terra's season. I have to say, this was Terra's season. She got a lot of screen time and a lot was going on in her life. She was angry. She was in her villain era. Like, she was popping off against Musa for getting her brother kicked out. She was popping off against her second cousin Flora, because Flora was just living her life and being who she wanted, what she wanted. And Terra was being jealous. She was giving very much jealousy, no Olivia Rodrigo. Like, it was just something about her being so snappy towards the both of them that I was just like, yes, we need this from Terra. Like, I like this energy from Terra. Just because I feel like we were really missing it from season 1. Like, having her discover who she is and coming into that person was just chef's kiss. Love it. Love that for Terra. And then the love intensified, because come to find out, Terra's one of the girls. Like, Terra had a whole coming out moment because we find out that she is a lesbian, and she has great taste, might I add, because this homegirl that she's crushing over, the specialist, yeah, I love them together. I'd love to see it. I really would love to see it. One thing I do have to say about Terra though, whoever was doing her costume design, I don't know if it was fit for her character with her being closeted and then like being out of the closet, but the closet that she be dressing out of was despicable. Like, her outfits were vile. Like, tell me how they're all going to a ball gala. Everyone else is dressed down in these beautiful dresses, or at least like fitting for their powers or whatever dresses. Like, they all look nice. Moral of the story. Then Terra comes out in like a tracksuit. Like, she's in like very much just like not giving ball attire. I'm just like, what is going on with Terra's wardrobe? Like, what is going on? Like, what are they doing? Like, I feel like she could be giving so much more in terms of like the looks category. They're just doing her dirty. Like, I just think they're doing her dirty. And speaking of being done dirty, Musa this season is going through it. I feel so bad for her because everyone else, all the other fairies, their powers are seen as like these blessings. They're super happy to get them. They're sad when they lose them because the whole thing of the season is like fairies are losing their powers, like strong part of their identity. Musa, homegirl wants these powers gone like yesterday. And she even offers herself up to have her powers taken away from her, because I always thought like having like mind powers or like being a mind fairy must be so draining because you're hearing everything all the time. Like, I'd hate to hear like the thoughts of everyone, especially relating to thoughts they're having about me. Like, no, wouldn't want that. I do not blame Musa at all. And in fact, I have a lot of empathy for Musa wanting to get rid of her powers because like that's just a lot. And even when she did have her powers this season, she wasn't using them for the best intentions. Like, she was taking away people's feelings and inadvertently just like repressing them until it kind of blew up, which is why Terra's brother kind of got booted from the show. But yeah, Musa was just going through a lot. I feel really bad for her now that her powers are back, just because you can see how much she's suffering. And since we're talking about suffering, you see how I'm like transitioning through these topics. Like, I am on it today. We need to have a moment of silence for Beatrix because she was honestly my favorite character in the show. She was giving me very much Cheryl Blossom energy, not just because they're both redheads or gingers, but because they both have like this conniving energy where that you don't know if they're like the bad guy or the good guy. And in the very end, she did all she could to make sure that the world did not get destroyed, but ended up getting destroyed herself in that process. So, moment of silence for Miss Beatrix. Thank you. Honestly, I'm just really mad that Beatrix had to be taken out the show like that because it really was all Bloom's fault. I hate to say it, but it was all Bloom's fault. Because let's just talk about it. Let's talk about the final episode. The final episode was such a mess because it felt so rushed. Like, there were definitely scenes that just got cut and we're going from one thing to another to another to another. Maybe I just missed something. Maybe I like looked away from the screen for a second, but how do we go from Silva telling Sky to be careful because he might be a target to Sky being captured and taken over? And how do we get to the point where the fairies are literally fighting to ensure that the world does not get destroyed? Like, how do we get here? Like, it seems like we went from like just like a takeover to being like a world domination type beat. Like, what? You know, like the whole organization of that episode just did not sit right with me. And the final fight just really did me in. I'm sorry. Let's go back to talking about Bloom for a second. Like, she is so worried about losing control, and that's like the whole thing of this episode. Like, I don't want to lose control. Like, I'm so nervous. I don't know why she has a British accent. She's the one American. I'm so nervous about losing control. Like, when really she was not concerned about that happening for so much of the season, up until she KOs Rosalind, which has a justification for why she did that. Like, her powers were really heightened because they were locked in that crystal or whatever. So like, there's a reason behind why you lost control then. Why are you so afraid that you're gonna lose control again? You know, it's not like you have a track record of actively doing that. Like, the first time she ever did it was when she first got her powers. Like, again, justified, she first got her powers. Second time, she had her senses heightened. When she's not in either of those states, she should be good, right? So why are you taking it upon yourself to be like a sacrificial piece when there is no need for you to do so? Like, you put yourself in the situation where Sky's life is in danger, right? And for some reason you decide to go alone because you think you're powerful enough to take on Sebastian, but then don't even use that power and just give it up and are willing to plunder the entire world. The entire world. Let's put this in perspective. We're not just talking about the school. We're not just talking about our friends. We're talking about the entire world being sent into chaos over a single boy who likely is already alive. Like, if you wanted to and you were that powerful, you could probably solve this issue without having to give up your powers. Like, at least put up a fight, you know? And then when Beatrix finally does her thing and like frees Sky, Bloom just doesn't do anything. She like huffs and puffs and gets all crazy. She just huffs and puffs and powers up and is like, I'm going to take you down. But then she's like, wait, I think I might lose control. And then ends up doing nothing. I'm just like, what is going on? The only good thing about that final episode was seeing all of the other fairies like get their wings and power up. Like, the whole sequence of them powering up is still kind of like, my feelings about that are still the same as when Bloom was powering up. Like, it's a little, you know, I wouldn't say it's like the best looking sequence, but it was cool to see them power up and all use their powers together. And then for some reason after all that, Bloom just went to a different dimension to go find her mom. Like, cool, definitely set up for season 3, especially with that black shadowy figure that shows up at the end. Like, I feel like there's definitely content for a season 3. But yeah, I definitely hope that season 3 slows down a little bit, doesn't feel as rushed, and makes a little bit more sense. I feel like that was a lot of nitpicking and critique. I do want to say that I really did like this show. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed watching this show. It was a good watch. But it was just those things that really got me thinking like, there could be some improvements. But yeah, those are all of my thoughts right now. If I missed anything or didn't talk about a character that you were really a stan of, let me know down in the comments. I know there was a lot of content with Sky this season that I didn't really get too into because I don't necessarily like Sky as a character. I'm sorry, that's probably gonna upset a lot of people. But let me know your thoughts on the show down in the comments below. I'd have to give this season of Fate Winx Saga a solid 7 out of 10. Definitely enjoyed, but its drawbacks were definitely drawing back, if that makes sense. Thank y'all so much for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video because it helps out so much. Follow me on all my socials at Imurgency. But other than that, y'all, I've been Imurgency and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.